Hello guys, it's Excel, and welcome to another Block Story Top 10 list. After uploading my first one, it was clear that you guys wanted some more, so without further ado, here's another one. This time it's going to be on the mysteries in Block Story. Earthquakes. Yes, we have all encountered these. You may say that earthquakes were added to make the game more realistic. However, there are no other disasters in the game. Developers may have added it for details, but we don't have any confirmation. But the question rises, how can there be earthquakes if there are no tectonic plates? Some articles states that this might be an event caused by Matia. Some say that the earthquakes are nothing but a small detail, but actually earthquakes damage you even if you stand on a flat surface. As far as I know, you should be able to take damage from an earthquake if you're standing on a flat surface, unless you fall down, of course, but obviously your character can't fall. Another suspicious thing is the Skyland. As far as we know, Skyland are afloat, and they can't touch the earth, but during earthquakes they still shake. Why? If you dig through the floating island, you will discover that there are no tectonic plates either. So is this just a simple mistake? Is this little detail? Or maybe the developers have some plans for it? Nobody really knows. When you explore the world, you may run into some abandoned structures. I mean, obviously you will, how could you miss them? There are tons of abandoned structures that are accessible for the player, like an abandoned tower on the desert, an abandoned beach house, abandoned ships and igloos, abandoned skylands and buildings. But why are they abandoned? I mean, they could make NPCs spawn in there, but they didn't. Instead, they are abandoned. Like if somebody built it and then left it there for some reason. But what's the reason? The Dragon Lord could have killed the people that lived inside of those houses and buildings. Or are they for new players in order to make their gameplay easier? Are their structures just a little bit of detail? Probably. Maybe they're just used for something else. Nobody knows the true answer. I mean, we can just presume it's some sort of detail, but it's actually kind of creepy. Geez, mind blocks are kind of creepy with these abandoned structures. Here's something that will confuse your mind. We know that Block Story's world is infinite and it never ends, but we see some objects in the sky. If you look into the sky, you will see the moon, sun, or that planet flying around, but how can we see them? If our world is infinite, how does the objects move around it? Shouldn't our world be flat like a huge never-ending disc? Also, if our world is blocky, why aren't the other worlds that circle it blocky as well? There are so many questions that could be asked right here. Such as, how can we see the stars? How? Isn't the game supposed to be infinite up? Meaning there will be tons of skyline covering the stars? That makes no sense! Why do skeletons dance? Is it a curse or just a hobby? Did the devs add this to have a little fun? I mean, the dark boss is pretty evil. He is evil enough to make the source of life a little worried, but he dances. Why? And also, why do they practice? They don't have any muscle either. It seems like when they lost all of their flesh, their bones got under serious danger, and they could just dry out from the heat in the underworld. So do they just keep their bones in shape to move? Or is it anything else? There isn't much information I can provide about this mystery because of the lack of info, obviously. If a developer is watching this, please tell us why skeletons love to dance so much. Now you may say blocks are normal in this game, but are they? Blocks defy every single physics rule which prove that they aren't normal in this game. We have Ted who complains about it, proving that NPCs are fully aware that blocks are surrounded by them. And even in the old versions of the game, when you first started off on your adventure with a brand new character in a brand new world, the very first thing that appears in the game is "Welcome to Block Story. You are in an infinite world made out of blocks." So there may be a world or planet which is not made out of blocks. I mean, If every time you start a new character and world, why would it say in a world made out of blocks? Am I not making any sense? What is Moria? Who built it? Did goblins build it? But how? Did they really dig in that deep and then suddenly stop and start to make the whole world underground, knowing that the roof may break down and crush them at any time? I mean, really, why were there skulls in there? Human skulls? You may say that these were skulls of dead goblin warriors, but these skulls belonged to humans. It was nothing like a goblin. So if there were human in Moria, where did they go? Did they turn into these goblins? Or maybe goblins killed all the humans and took Moria as their own home place? Nobody knows. And where did Moria go? Moria was removed from the game in version 9.0. Maybe the whole thing deconstructed. Maybe the columns were not strong enough to hold the weight of the world, so it just broke down. Is there any references to Moria? Yes, there are a few, but none of them gives us info about the world itself. Will they ever add back Moria? Who knows? Shadow Hunter, aka the Alchemist. A mysterious person who hides his face and identity. First known as the Shadow Hunter, then known as the Alchemist. He was a man you always wanted to be near you. He was selling almost everything in the previous versions of the game. He was suspicious and smart. What? How is it that he was smart? Well, if you sell almost every single item in the game, it means you made or gathered them somehow. That leads to a theory that he has killed and mined a lot, so most likely he is very smart. Another theory is that as a merchant, he has to travel around in different places to sell his stuff. However, if he travels around, then it means that he has seen a lot, and that leads to the fact that, yes, you guessed it, most likely very smart. Also, he is an alchemy genius, and in the storyline, he was the one who created the bow, which also leads to, what a surprise, the fact that he is very smart. Even the wizard warns us about his dangerous personality. He knows that you haven't killed deers with a bow after finishing a quest, which means somehow he found a dog. As far as we know, dogs are not in this game as an actual entity. We only have a pet dog. Where did Shadowhunter get Slinky after all? Not only that, but this man is surprised at the blockiness of Block Story as well, just like Ted. It's like he was born somewhere else. Who is Shadowhunter? Why did they change his name? Where did he come from? Only developers know. Ted the Viking. No, I'm not talking about Ted from the old version of the game where he's like, hey, wimpy kid, come over here, build me a boat. No, I'm not talking about that version of Ted the Viking. I'm talking about the new version. So he's a Viking, huh? I thought Vikings were from Earth. Guess not. This character is like the Sans of Block Story. He is so smart and definitely knows a lot of stories. He literally knows too much. He's a Viking, which means he had a boat in the old version of the game. He crashed his boat and was bitten by sharks as well. In the newer version, we see some crashed boats generating in the world, which may be the reference to Ted the Viking's crashed boat from the old game. Ted knows everything about the ocean because, well, he's a Viking, of course, and he knows about Atlantis, he knows about the Megalodon, he knows about the Tentacons, he also knows Ashcore. I mean, how did he find out about Ashcore? Did he use a jetpack? Less likely, because you need graviton to fly a jetpack. As far as I know, you can only get them by killing visitors, which are in the Skylands. But how did he reach the Skyland? Did he build a platform of some sort of stairs? I mean, come on, could you imagine Ted building a huge stairs for nothing? I mean, if he built some stairs, it means that he knew that there was something up in the sky, but how did he know? That's right, he didn't know. Clearly, he had no idea if there was a world up there, which busts the second theory, but then how did he reach the Skyland after all? Well, that leads to only one and final theory. Ted was a dragon rider. In the Viking culture, Vikings respected dragons They had boats with dragon heads on it, so that does mean that Ted is a dragon rider, or at least he was a dragon rider. Who knows? Also, another interesting fact is that he knows the source of life. I mean, Ted is the only one who knows the source of life. Even the wizard never mentioned about the source of life, while Ted did in the old game. Some of you may say there is nothing wrong with it, but actually it is a huge thing even when you know the spirit of nature. Every life is linked to the source of life, and the source of life is the strongest being. How did Ted meet him? Who knows? Another fact about Ted is Hugo's friendship. Ted is the only human who knows Hugo. Hugo is Ted's friend who lives in the caves. In order for Ted to actually become friends with Hugo, he had to spend some time in the cave. But why would Ted go into a cave? Because he's needed some materials for something. He wanted to mine stuff in order to make something. But what? A ship? A house? A city? Actually, why did Ted want to build a city? I mean, it's not accurate to wake up one day and say, "Oh, you know what? I'm gonna build a city today." I think Ted had some plans about all this Dragon Lord stuff that was going around. Maybe he wanted to gather up people in one city in order to protect them? I mean, there could be a purpose, right? Ted is not an idiot, and he definitely had some plans about all this. But what plans did he have? Who is Ted the Viking? How is he so friendly? Why did he want to build a city? Only developers know. Next up, I have a mystery for you guys, where probably 99% of you have no idea what this is, or just completely forgot about it. This next mystery is called Zorduraxis. Now, some of you may not remember this name, so let me refresh your memory. Zorduraxis is a dead dragon that was mentioned in the storyline, but has never actually been seen in the game. Specifically, Zorduraxis is Paula's former dragon, which was killed by the Dragon Lord. Now, the reason why I picked Zorduraxis as a mystery is that nobody really knows if he's dead or not. As far as we see, dragons can come back from the dead if their rider is still alive. When the dragon of a player dies, it comes back after a few in-game days. Dragon Lord's dragon also seems to come back after death too. We see that not only from the visual game, but also in storyline, where Aaron asks you to kill Ashkor, the ice dragon, and the red dragon, and after completing the task, these three dragons still appear in the battle against the Dragon Lord, which means nothing but the fact that they were revived. So if the dragons can be revived, why didn't Paula's dragon get revived as well? Well, here we run into a dead end. With all these facts that we currently have, we can't go any further. But this is where theories show up. One of the theories are Dragon Lord resurrected Zora and used him as his own dragon. Now, I know it sounds crazy, but think about it. The Dragon Lord can instantly revive his fallen dragons in battle, so why wouldn't he do the same for Zora? It seems like the wizard used his magic to ruin the connection between Zorduraxis and his rider, and resurrected Zora as his own slave. This is a base theory which then has a lot of continuations. Some of them say the green dragon that the Dragon Lord rides is Zorduraxis himself, but we know Zora was a weak dragon. But in the fight, he seems to be quite strong. Well, in fact, he's not, and here's why. The reason why Zora shoots out lightning must be a modification that was made in him during his resurrection. But yet, even with the wizard riding him, their HPs combined wasn't higher than 9,000, which concludes that Zora had only about 1,000 to 2,000 HP, which isn't really that much. And there are even more facts saying that if this green dragon isn't really that strong, though all this are just speculations of different players, the true story of Zorduraxis hasn't been quite known and will most likely remain as a mystery, unless of course we get more to the storyline in the future. I myself have seen these eyes 4 times, 3 of which were in Season 1, and back then, the only problem was those eyes were glitched and only appeared as purple rectangles. You guys might have remembered that if you watched my Season 1 playthrough of Block Story. But my first real experience was the 9.0 beta when it was released onto the Google Play Store. I remember on the first day just messing around, testing all these cool new features, then I decided to go into the underworld. And I happened to turn my back around because I felt like there was something right behind me sneaking up, closer to me. I turned around, only to see 2 giant red eyes staring at me. Back then, I had no idea who this mythical creature was, but I knew one thing. These eyes have appeared on the last 3 Block Story trailers.
The only question is, who will survive?
I remember seeing those eyes at the end of the trailers and asking about it in the comments, but I never got any answer at the time. I immediately recognized them from the trailer, and instead of running off or shutting off my screen like a lot of other people have done, I got closer and closer and closer until it disappeared. But right before it disappeared, I happened to take this photo. I started looking online for answers and eventually came across this thread titled Matia. The name Matia means evil eyes in Greek. So who is Matia? No one really knows. All we know is that Matia only comes out at night and is a part of the background. So the smaller your render distance is, the bigger the eyes will show up. And that's about all we know about Matia. Now, at the time, I thought Matia was the scariest thing in Block Story. That is, until Aragog scarred me for life. I really need to be more careful though. Oh! Oh god! Oh my god! Jeez. Do you agree with this list? Do you have any other ideas for mysteries that were not listed? Do you have any ideas for a new list? Let me know in the comments section below. Also, if you have any screenshots of Matia, feel free to upload them to blogstory.net. I'm interested to see your Matia encounters.